Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We're delighted to be sharing more about our latest communication aid, TalkPad, which is available now. My name's Hannah, I'm the Product Marketing Lead at Smartbox, and I'll be chairing today's session with Emma and Dan. If you do have any questions during the presentation, please pop them into the Q&A box and we'll come to them at the end. We will be sharing a recording of the session tomorrow, so if you want to catch up or share it with any colleagues, please feel free to. So let's start by handing over to Dan. Dan, if you could please introduce yourself and let us know about your involvement in the project.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm Dan. I'm head of hardware at Smartbox. My team are responsible for the grid pads, talk pads, and touch pads. We developed this product with our partner in China, and we're very excited to present to you today. So over to my colleague Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I work in the global partner team. So I support our network of global partners selling Smartbox products into many different countries. My involvement with the project has been nowhere near as much as Dan, but I have been supporting bringing in professionals from all over the world to kind of feedback and drive the development of TalkPad. So yeah, that's me. Okay, so without further ado, the reason we're all here, introducing TalkPad. So some of you may have been familiar with our first generation TalkPad. So this is the next iteration that we're referring to as second gen. So it's a portable communication aid that runs our flagship Grid for iPad software. So research-based communication tool, some of you may be already familiar, very similar to Grid for Windows. So it's suitable for a range of conditions and different levels of literacy. And it's an ideal choice for someone who needs a portable, durable, lightweight communication aid that can be used on the go in all those different situations. It's been designed in consultation, as I've touched on already, with AAC users themselves, which we're going to look at in more detail shortly, and professionals from all over the world. We've got some very exciting new accessibility features, which we're going to talk you through, which all help getting your message across in all those different situations we communicate all day, every day. There's going to be a choice of sizes and colours, which we're going to share with you shortly. But it's our first iPad-based solution that we've actually designed from the ground up. So as we take you through, you'll see all those design decisions that we've made, and that Dan's actually brought to life in this device. So yeah, really, really special, and hopefully you'll see the benefits of all those decisions as we talk through them. Here at Smartbox, we have an ever-growing presence in Germany and the US. And what that enables us to do is reach a much larger pool of people to give us lots of feedback, lots of insight, and ultimately it allows us to invest more in the design and leverage some better engineering techniques, which Dan will also give us a bit of an insight to. So thanks for being here, Dan. It also means that we get controlled and stable supply. So for those of you that are familiar with our previous generation of TalkPad, we took a lot of already off-the-shelf available products and brought them together to build our TalkPad solution, which comes with difficulties when different elements become end of life. By designing and building everything from scratch, we take that control back and ensure that we can continue supply of our device. So that's really exciting. And it also means that inevitably, when new versions of the iPad become available, that we can make those tweaks. So whether the size and shape changes slightly, or whether the button or the camera move position, which we all know happens with new generations of iPad, we have that control to tweak our design to work for those new iPads. So yeah, we're very excited to introduce you to TalkPad, which really aligned with our wider mission of improving access to AAC for users and those supporting them. So without further ado, I'm going to show you a little video of what the TalkPad looks like. Oh no, we're missing the cheesy music. So you can see there a good all-round view. Don't worry if it was a little bit stuttery for you. We are going to try and show you the device as we talk through the different features as we go through. But there hopefully gave you a little bit of an insight to what it looks like. Okay. Stuttering a little bit. There we go. Okay, so first off, we wanted to introduce you to some product testers. Here at Smartbox, we're very passionate about involving everyone in feeding back to us the research surveys that we do about what people want to get from communication aids provided by Smartbox. And that continues through the development process. So part of that is finding product testers to test the sample products that we have before we release and give us feedback and insight into what's working well, what we need to tweak before we release. So we're going to introduce you to 2 users today. We'll give you a couple of bits of information about them, and then as we go through some of the features, we'll relate them back to these 2 users and how they've used them and benefited from them as we go through. So this is Safina. She's 32. She was introduced to TalkPad back in August and has been using it ever since, providing us with feedback and insight. And like I said, we'll kind of talk through some of the things that worked for her as we go through. Safina used a couple of other forms of communication previously, one of them being Makaton. For those of you that aren't aware of Makaton, it's like a simplified British Sign Language. And she was is a very competent user of Makaton, but it has a huge limitation that she can only communicate with people that can understand Makaton. So although it gave her the freedom to communicate, it was also very limiting in that respect. She did have another form of communication, which is a paper-based communication book. Which again also had its limitations. In order for her to have all the vocabulary that she needed in one place, it's quite a large book. Something Safina has found difficult is her balance. So carrying a big communication book while she's trying to communicate can be quite difficult. And then also there was perhaps the stereotype or the concern that people would stereotype about her carrying a book with big symbols that might be interpreted as pictures. It might look childish. So she really wanted something a bit smaller that allowed her to communicate with lots of different people without barriers. And yeah, we're going to touch on what those benefits were as we go through the presentation. But yeah, this is Safina.
Nice one, Emma. The start's always the hardest. So this is Charlie. He's, as you can see from the photograph, one of our smiliest user testers ever. He didn't stop smiling the whole time, and he knew exactly what to do. He jumped straight in, jumped into edit mode, and started adding vocabulary. His most important vocabulary was supercars, so Lamborghini. Needed to know how to spell that. Charlie's requirement is he needs flexible positioning because he's changing modes all the time. So TalkPad, you'll see later in the presentation, has lots of flexibility for positioning, so it gives him the freedom to communicate wherever he goes. So think back to Charlie as we go through these features. Next one.
Okay, so one of the really big difficulties with design, especially when we're talking about AAC, is making something as accessible as possible, but also as desirable as possible. We kind of touched on Safina's need to have something which she didn't think made her stand out, which looked more like mainstream tech. So it's a really difficult balance, right? Mixing accessibility with something that's appealing and mainstream looking. And I think that the hardware team have done a very good job of getting that balance right. We've got an ergonomical device with lots of features that make it really easy to hold, and we'll touch on some of those different options shortly. But one of the things I wanted to focus on initially was the size of the buttons. So the buttons on an iPad, as we know, are quite small and fiddly, and not everybody has the dexterity and the ability to select those buttons independently. So what the hardware team have managed to do is increase the size of the buttons massively. So we're increasing the independence of the user by making them bigger and more accessible. They've got a nice tactile feel, so we can select them and get that tactile feedback that we've made that selection, and again, just improving the independence of the user. We've also made them really visible, so anybody who perhaps has a visual impairment can also spot where they are really nice and easily, but not impacting on the overall general appearance, which is looking like a mainstream piece of tech. I think that was one of the things Safina fed back about, was having something not that much bigger than her phone, really sleek, discreet, that she could carry and was proud to carry. So yeah.
All right, making things easier. So it's all about usability. We'll focus on the ports here. So we've got USB-C for charging. USB-C is really nice because it's reversible and very robust. So no more jamming USB micros in and mashing up all the pins. And then the other side, we have two switch ports, which use the native iPad switch control. Two really nice features we've added this generation are feedbacks. So when you plug a switch in, you can demonstrate it.
Oh, that was the power.
Nice.
Sorry.
Switch on power when you plug something in.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I hear her.
Awesome.
There you go. And when you pull out again, it tells you pull it out, so you know for sure. And then also, if you just want to check the switch is working, there's an LED next to the switch port. When you press it, it lights up. Brilliant. There we go. So just a quick way, just thoughtful little improvements that make things much easier in your day to day.
Yeah, really supporting that people around the user as well as the user with that confirmation with audio feedback and that lovely LED light feedback as well. I can't tell you the number of times when we've worked with switch users and we're having to go into settings to try and work out whether the switch is working or whether it's the port that's broken. So we've got that really quickly and instantly to let us know. So yeah, thanks, Dan.
All right. So versatile design, versatile positioning. So think back to Safina. She's out and about, walking around. She's got a neck strap, but she can hold it here and access the device whenever she needs it. So it's ready to go. And then Charlie, even more demanding. Charlie's in a wheelchair a lot of the time, so he needs it mounted. So we have Daisy and Ray Adapt mounting plates. This was traditionally we make a Daisy and Ray Adapt combination plate, so that fits on anything in a hospital, for example. Some of the user feedback we got was, oh, this is sticking into my lap. Can you give me something flatter? So we've made a really flat Ray Adapt plate, which is more common. So for people using it on their lap, they would use that thinner Ray Adapt plate. So yeah, we've got mounting for in his wheelchair, and then he will often move from his wheelchair to his walker. So we have this lovely rubberized handle here, which is tilting back so it gives you plenty of room to grab it, but it's also hidden away from the device, so it's not imposing on Charlie's experience either. So nice rubber handle, and then it will often move to a desk as well. So you have this rubberized stand that comes out, this entirely adjustable up to this position. So you can have a viewing position on the desk, or you can open it all the way up and tilt it right back. And it's rubberized on the device, rubberized on the stand as well, so that can't slip around. Or if you want a really nice stable position, you'll close it entirely and it'll rest on the handle. Same thing, really nice low touch position then on the desk. So this gives both of those guys freedom to move around, but what's the point of moving around if it just breaks? So to ensure against that, we make sure everything is built to last. Every single aspect of this device is engineered to the maximum to withstand the trials and tribulations of AAC life. So firstly, one of our main repairs has always been port repairs, but you'll know if you buy our products now that port repairs are on the floor, barely see any anymore. And the way we deal with that is just use every single mechanical thing around the port to grab it and hold it really tightly. So you can't twist it in any direction or inwards. And they're very high quality ports. The second thing that breaks on an iPad is the screen. So what we've done on this device, we have a kind of a rubber surround, which is for shock protection. Then we have a plastic bezel on top of the screen, which protects for dropping down like this. And then the third protection layer is the screen protector. So it's an anti-glare screen protector, which has impact protection, shock protection, and those three things in total mean screen repairs are minimized for this product. I know Emma has only recently dropped her device as well on the concrete.
Dan, don't drop me in it. I didn't know whether I should tell Dan this, but yeah, I was carrying 2 TalkPads and my laptop from my car to my house, and I dropped it from quite a height, face down, and I had that horrible moment where I was peeling it back off the floor thinking, oh god, oh god, oh god, and I peeled it back slowly, and it's amazing what impact this bezel has protecting the screen. And actually it was fine, and I haven't even got the screen protector on mine, so I can attest to the fact that it really does withstand some terrible drops.
This is my absolute favorite bit about demonstrating these devices. We like to chuck them around and people cringe as they fly through the air, but I know they're going to survive. Final thing I want to mention on that is it's a bit more unusual, but Charlie's a good example of somebody who might grab on his device and use it to reposition himself in the chair. So what we did on this one was we've created a metal internal structure which connects the handle to the mounting plate directly. So if you were to pull here with all of your body weight, it's going to go through the mounting plate and into the chair rather than into the very vulnerable PCB or battery inside. So it's just another level of protection to make it really, really robust.
Obviously, we don't recommend doing that, but we're very aware that sometimes these things happen. So we've been thinking about it.
Advise against it. But, so we've got a couple of videos here. This one on the left, this is a drop test video. The drop test is the MIL 810 standard. And what they're doing there is they're dropping it from 4 feet onto concrete, and they have to drop it 26 times on every face of the device, and it has to survive. So that's pretty demanding, and it does that, no problem. And then we've got another video off to the right here, which is we test everything, but I thought these were the most exciting videos. So this one, we were worried about people leaning on the device and pressing on that stand. And so what we've got here is a force gauge pushing down 20, 30 kilos. I can't remember exactly, but enough to bottom out that stand. And you can see that withstands that no problem. And the way we did that was we embed a more metal structure in the plastic there, so it's never going to break. All right.
I thought we were having a remix of the videos then. Okay, so yeah, just relating it back to Charlie. We've already mentioned Charlie uses it in lots of different positions, and obviously moving a device from a mount to a desk to a walker, it kind of makes the device vulnerable to being dropped and knocked and bumped, as well as all the other occasions where that might happen. So it just really highlighted the need for us to make sure that this device is going to be protected, and we're keeping the device in the hands of the users where it needs to be, not back in repairs because it's got a broken screen. So as we mentioned before, the product testers, so Charlie and Safina, have had the devices since August. So we had feedback that Charlie was very excited to be taking his TalkPad on holiday. So the testing of the devices has been all over. Well, it's been going on holiday, allowing him to communicate at exciting times of his life when he should be able to. So yeah, really nice feedback there.
Hopefully in his Lamborghini.
Yeah, imagine.
So the speaker on the back, probably the most important part of this product, because this is your voice. We really, really wanted to nail it on this project. So what we did was we partnered with a world leader in audio manufacturing. They work with all of the big guys out there like B&O and Bose, even the automotive guys like Porsche and BMW. We've been to their factory and they're producing speakers, hand assembled, absolutely beautiful top end speakers at a rate of like 4,000 a day. So world-class manufacturing. And a partner like this just gives us access to the best technology out there. Namely, on this device is Qualcomm. So this is just quite simply the best Bluetooth audio you can get.
Can I ask you something?
Later. What this means for our users, it means reliability. So never drop connection, no truncating of words, perfect Bluetooth connection. And then on top of that, perfect speaker design. So we have a speaker and a passive radiator to give you extra depth and richness, and a chamber to make the most of those features for the best possible voice reproduction on a really small scale as well.
So this feature is important for both the users we've mentioned. Safina in particular here, all these gorgeous photos that were taken were actually taken in a coffee shop, if you can't tell. So to give Safina the confidence to use her device and know that she's going to be heard and understood, that clarity and volume is really important. So actually on this visit, she was able to go up to the till and order her drink with all the hubbub of conversation, the clinking of coffee cups, the loud noise of the coffee machine, and she was able to communicate confidently and loudly. She also has a very large family at home, so to be able to go home and be heard over all the different conversations that happen around the kitchen table, and then Charlie as well, being in a school setting, being able to be heard in the classroom and be able to input in lessons, in the playground, to be able to communicate while there's children screaming and laughing, and then in the cafeteria as well, when ordering dinner, when there's clinking of plates and chats happening. So yeah, really benefited from the loud and clear audio that Dan has mentioned. I'm gonna demo it. This never works very well on a webinar, but let's give it a go.
Yeah, we'll do it justice.
Something is wrong with my device. It's too loud.
So it's always very difficult to kind of portray the volume of this over a webinar, but yeah, just to try.
Something is wrong with my device. It's too loud.
To give you an idea versus myself, yeah, really loud and clear audio. Maybe not with my accented voice that I've chosen there.
That's your exact accent, I think, Em.
Yeah. That's why I chose it. It represents me. Yeah.
Okay, is this me? Yes. Do you have one to demonstrate, Emma? Because I am disorganized and don't. So this is my favorite feature on this product, because I know how hard it is to design the right keyguard. So keyguard, there's this tricky balance between making it easy to remove, to edit, but also difficult to remove for the user. So I think we've finally done it here. We've tried everything. We've tried magnets, screws, clips, suckers, Velcro. This is quite simply a plastic frame, and it hooks over the one side, hinges around and snaps onto the other, and that's trapping the little clear keyguard against the screen there. And the snapping is perfectly balanced, so it's really, really tough, but also with the understanding the knack of a little twist, and you can pull it away, makes it easy to change and edit as well. So you can see there the plastic keyguard sits on top, latch one side over.
Can I tell you something?
In a minute.
There you go. Not bad. And you have to see this one in person again to appreciate it, but there's absolutely no movement at all. It's perfectly sat there, really, really secure as well. And what's the final beautiful thing about this is we can mold these in different colors as well. So the black frame that you see there, we also do that in a coral, a pinky coral color, and a green pistachio color, we call it. It's kind of like a olivey mint green.
I always get nervous about doing a demonstration, but hopefully that gave you gave you an idea. Like Dan said, it's easy to put on without any tools or anything, but it's not going to be something that the user's going to be able to take off themselves. I think you had a nice quote, didn't you? You had feedback from someone who's already loving and benefiting from the key guard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've got it here. Do you want me to read it out?
Please.
Hi guys, wanted to share some feedback on the TalkPad from one of our consultants. She said the key guard frame absolutely saved the day in my last appointment of the day. They were going to try a different company because access was so tricky for this little guy. Switches cognitively were too difficult. And not needing eye gaze, but direct selection was not accurate. So we would have, and looking at other key guard options, he would have been able to pull them straight off. But the key guard frame was an absolute win, and he is now accurate. So yeah, some really amazing feedback about how well that's doing. So yeah. Okay. Okay, so TalkPad is a complete solution. So it comes with a few different accessories we just wanted to touch on. So it will come in a lovely design box, which is environmentally friendly and recyclable. But as well as that, it will come with a case. With a strap, so when you're porting the device from school to home or to whatever setting you're taking it to, it adds that extra protection. Makes it easy to carry it around, and it's a reusable solution that can be used time and time again, so that's a really nice option. We have touched on the adjustable strap, so Dan mentioned it as a neck strap, or it can be used as a shoulder strap, so that comes with all the devices as well, and that can be put onto the device if needed. The other accessory I'm just going to quickly touch on, but get Dan to talk through the hardware bits with you, is the charger, or the PSU. So we know the bugbears of having to charge two elements and having to keep track of both cables and find somewhere with two sockets. So what the clever hardware team have done is made one charger, so it's one cable into the wall. That splits off and has two ends, and they're color coded as well, so they're really easy to see, and on there is a label that says number 1 and number 2. And then on the device itself, you've got the two charging ports right next to each other, here and here, that say number 1 and number 2, so you can charge really easily from the same cable both elements of the device. In terms of the battery life, the battery of the iPad itself obviously has about 10 hours, which is pretty standard. The battery life of the back box is actually about 4 days. So you're never going to be in a situation, if you're charging them both together, you're never going to be in a situation where the iPad's still alive and the amplification isn't working. You're still going to have access to that. So a really nice and well thought out approach to charging.
Yeah, I'll just say a little bit about this, guys. So this is our first charger that we customized ourselves. So it's not like we've designed this from scratch. This is an existing, very mature PSU that's out there already, but we've created an enclosure for it, and so that we can have different plug options. We've got a Clover there, which is unusual. So you could plug any region in USA, EU, UK, whatever. And then we've got our two sockets there, which charge the iPad and the back box at the same time. And the other requirement that comes up quite a lot is medical leakage. So this is the amount of current that gets from here to the user, and we want to keep that as low as possible. We meet the medical standard, which is very low compared to a normal PSU. So a very expensive medical PSU will probably, or rather a typical medical PSU will be about £100 or €100, whereas this one's far more affordable because we've customized it and made our own.
Yeah, if you ever do come up with a situation where you've lost this lovely fancy Y cable, you can just use other cables that are available, such as your iPad charger or whatever. So yeah, really nice option there. Okay, so moving on to the different versions of TalkPad that we have available. So we've already mentioned the size, but just to confirm, we have the TalkPad 8, which is based on the smaller iPad, and then we also have the TalkPad 10, which is based on the 9th gen iPad. So both of those are available. We will in the future look to provide the 10.2, which is the 10th gen iPad. So that will be available in the future. We've mentioned colours, but you haven't seen them yet. So these are the 3 colours that are available. So charcoal, which is the version that me and Dan have, because we're boring apparently. We've all gone for the same. So charcoal is what we have on these 3 devices, but we also have some other options as well. So we have coral, or my personal favourite is the pistachio. And like Dan mentioned earlier, the keyguard frames can also be ordered in these same colours, so you can mix and match. Yeah, it's a really nice option. We have had people just ordering these just for the colour options on the front. So that is an option. In terms of if you already have an iPad with a grid for iPad on it, TalkPad is provided as a complete solution, but if you're looking to upgrade, get in contact and we can see what options we have available to you in terms of upgrading you to a TalkPad. That will be an option. Okay. So finishing up, as usual, you'll have all the amazing support from our amazing support team, who I can see are all busy. You can contact them in the usual ways. So on our website, using the online chat at thinksmartbox.com, via email, support@thinksmartbox.com, or on the phone lines too. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can contact us via those means at a later date. We've already got lots of resources on our Smartbox hub. There's lots of videos introducing TalkPad. If you want to watch the keyguard bit again, for example, there's a really nice short video on how to take that on and off. Lots of things like the manuals, which have been translated into lots of different languages, already available on the Smartbox hub. And then in our direct markets, our TalkPad solution will also come with smart care protection, giving you that added peace of mind, and that will be for 3 years. So everything you need, all bundled into it as part of your TalkPad solution. Okay. I think Hannah's going to join us again now.
Thanks, Emma, and thanks, Dan. That's brilliant. Really great to hear all the features and a little bit more about our users as well. We have had a question in the chat about whether the keyguard is anti-reflective. Do you know about that, Dan?
I can see. The clear bit in the middle isn't anti-reflection. No, I was just having a quick scan there to see. We could buy like anti-reflection sprays to apply on top, or we could sandblast it to make it kind of matte finish as well. Those things are possible. Haven't been asked for it before, but if you do come to order a keyguard and you really want that, let me know and maybe we can do something. Have to be a custom thing.
Okay, thanks, Dan. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to come in to the chat here, feel free to turn your camera on and your mic, or just pop into the chat. And if you wouldn't mind scanning our QR code to let us know any feedback about the webinar, that'd be really helpful, just to let us know your thoughts. But it looks like we may not have any more questions.
Somebody's got a question. Come
on. They've got to somewhere.
No, all done.
You just did such a great presentation, both of you.
Just covered everything.
Okay, well, if anyone thinks of a question after the webinar, feel free to email us at hello@thinksmartbox.com and we'll get back to you. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thanks Dan and Emma for presenting.
Thanks,
Appreciate the time, everyone. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.